Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today, I'm going to provide update 3 of my 2026 Spanish study plan. And if you want to find my other updates or my previous updates, you can always go onto the channel and look for the 2026 Spanish Learning Plan playlist. And then you'll be able to see how my plan kind of varied a little bit from the beginning of the year to right now. But I figured I wanted to do this update because number one, I wanted to prove again that I'm consistently doing what I tell others to do on this channel. And also number two is because 6 months in a plan, like at the beginning of a year, everyone says they want to do something. And then by the time like half the year goes, they're no longer doing that thing. But I'm proving to you again that I'm consistently doing what I said that I want to do, and that in showing, again, just the process of what it takes to be a Spanish learner from my perspective, for someone with the goal of actually being able to say everything that they can say in Spanish, in English for the most part, in Spanish. It's going to take a while, but eventually I'll get there if I keep doing the same thing. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. The plan hasn't changed much from the previous video, but I do want to highlight some things. So as a reminder, what do? I have my 2026 Spanish study tracker, and this is what guides my studying every day. It's what makes me consistently show up because I know what I have to do, and I have dates that support it. Like there's milestones and all that stuff. Do I hit them every day? No, sometimes it changes a little bit based on what I have going on in my life, but I know like to keep going using my tracker. So the first thing I do every morning is I now use my structured recall program. And so here it shows that I started on the 15th of May, but if you remember, or if you watched any previous videos, like structured recall first started off with PDFs, and I was using the program with the PDFs, going back and forth between reading the PDF, using a Spanish translator on SpanishDictionary.com, and then doing a program like that until someone finally suggested that it would be cool as a web app. And so I made it into a web app. So I've done a few videos about structured recall. You can find out more about structured recall by going to the products page. But anyway, I do structured recall every morning, and I'm really am enjoying the app. And I would say that because I started over with the web app version, I am much is much faster at days that I have done again. And so I guess it makes sense because I've seen them before when I was using the program as a PDF, and now I see them as in my online version. And so there you go. More repetitions, the faster you become. So that's what I do every morning. I do structured recall. If you ever wanted to see any of my unedited versions of structured recall, I'll also have a playlist where I am posting all of my videos of my structured recall drills. So they're unlisted, but if you're watching this video, you'll know how to get it. So the playlist is public, but the actual drill days are unlisted. So that's what I do to begin. The next thing I do is I do my vocabulary review. And so my vocabulary, as I shared in the previous video, my vocabulary right now, my active vocabulary that I study comes from the flashcards that I made from Español Sí, which is the telenovela that I watched to get my listening in. And so I have episodes 1 through 26, all their flashcards, and then because this is the beginner level of it, like there's 74 episodes, and then I have episodes 27 through 50 here, and I'm currently on episode 50. I'm currently on episode 35, which is why I don't have the next folder yet, which is the advanced episodes. What is that? Episode 51 through 68 or something like that. So that's what I do. And the thing about the flashcards is that a lot of the words are words that you would think that you would never C. Let's say, for example, episode 35. Let's go into one of those real quick. Let's see. All right. So you would
guess.
never think that you may see the word to guess or something like that. But the only way you're going to study it is if you have a flashcard for it. And so every once in a while,
Agitation.
words like agitation
To
comes up.
turn
And so that's
against. To
those
lash out.
small
To
words that
mistreat.
over time, eventually you build a repository of them in your brain. And so that's what the flashcards help me do. And I study those flashcards for Español Sí every morning. And the way I have it set up is because now that I'm like 35 episodes in, it becomes a little harder to actually, it can become harder to review. So I have this algorithm or this thing set up where I'm like, okay, how do I continually review all these flashcards that I have built? And so the idea now is like, okay, for the first 26 episodes, which is on the left side of the screen, the first 26 episodes, the way I have decided to review it is as I go through the words, you'll see this star here. If it's something that I know that I have a problem with, I'll go ahead and start a word. And so then my flashcard review becomes, okay, did I first complete the episode, the review? Do they have any active stars? If they have active stars, then those are the cards of all the cards in a given episode that I review. So that's for the review session. So for example, if I go into episode 1, you'll see there's 42 terms here if I wanted to study all of those, but that would be way overwhelming. So instead of studying all 42 cards, what I would do is I'd say options, study only the start terms. And now when I do that, it reduces to now the 4 words that I often have an issue with. And so that's how I get through my vocabulary words for Español Sí, the review. But that's just the review portion. I also have Español Sí, like the intermediate learning, like what I'm currently doing for this cycle. And this is why I have this spreadsheet separated. So I have the actual current intermediate videos here in this list. And so again, as I explained in a previous update, what I would do, let's say today, I'm still, not today, yesterday, or 2 days ago. So I will watch the episode, but before I watch episode 36, I will complete the vocabulary review for episode 36. And so that's a separate review. So if I go into my library again, so episodes 27 through 50, and here's episode 36 here. And so now
Aquila knows
the video that I'm watching today, and then the next day, like I do the review of vocabulary for those specific words. So this is really the first time I actually see the vocabulary for a given episode. And then eventually it turns into like a review. So I do the vocabulary review. That's what this is. It says vocabulary review. And then after I do the vocabulary review, I watch the episode with subtitles. And so I have that queued up here. I'll show you in a second. And then, so that will be a day. The next day, again, I do the vocabulary review for the same episode. And then I read the video script. I have the video scripts for the given episode. And this is where I get my reading in. And it helps me pick up words that I didn't pick up when I was reading the subtitles, because even when you're reading the subtitles, the video goes in real time. And like, I'm not pausing it every second. I'm trying to read and pick up as much as I can. So this gives me time to actually pause, stop, and process what I didn't pick up. And then the next day, again, going back into the spreadsheet, the next day or tomorrow, for example, I'm going to do the vocabulary review for the episode, for the same episode, and then I'm going to watch it without subtitles. The one thing I would say about Español Sí right now, like it says intermediate, but boy, is it getting kind of tough to follow everything. And it's important to have that reading of the transcripts and reading with the subtitles on, because more and more emotion is being, I guess, presented in the episodes, and it's much faster and more colloquially spoken Spanish. So it's a little tough. I'll say that, but I'm following for the most part after going through the review of the subtitles and then reading the episode. I follow for the most part all of the episodes. So here is just a quick example of what one of the episodes can sound like.
Bueno, Sole, ahora te doy los teléfonos y las direcciones de todo, ¿vale?
Sí.
¿Te ha quedado todo claro, Sole?
Creo que sí.
Bueno, acuérdate que para entonces deberá estar todo listo. Esta exposición es importantísima para lanzar la galería. No podemos olvidar ningún detalle, tiene que ser todo perfecto.
Sí, lo he entendido. O sea, que Pablo contactará con la prensa, Eva se ocupará del buffet, tú de la disposición, mientras que yo deberé contactar al fotógrafo mañana por la mañana para hacer el catálogo.
No, Sole, no. No.
So anyway, so it goes pretty fast right now, and that's good because that's how real people speak, especially when they get emotional. So that's what I do for Español Sí. And then the next thing I do is I still study grammar, and currently I'm working through intermediate Spanish grammar. Practice makes perfect. And slowly but surely, again, this is all review, but I pick up some words here and there. It's not a lot of vocabulary review for this, so to speak, but it is a passive review of vocabulary. So as I come across different sentences, let's say I'm in chapter 14 in perfect tense. I know the perfect imperfect tense pretty well, but if I am going through it, let's say if I'm going through the vocabulary section of this chapter, like I'll pick up some words, and like today, for example, el peatón. So I know that when I hear it, but then I kind of forget it. So what I'm doing for these words, I don't have an active review process for these words, but I do have a notebook. And as I come across words in the example sentences or in the vocabulary section, I at least write them down so I can do something with them later. Like maybe I'll create flashcards for these words later, but I haven't decided. I just know I take note of all the words that I don't know from each chapter, and I have a pretty large running list right now for this book. But again, review is part of the game, and that's what I've been doing, and I'll be finished with this book by time, let's see, hopefully before the end of the month. And I know I'm going to spend a lot of time here. I'm probably going to need all 3 days. Other days, because it's review, I've only been taking 2 days for each chapter on average, like interrogative and exclamations, like that only took me 1 day. All right. And the last thing that I will share, because I haven't shared it yet on this channel, is my nightly reading. And so my nightly reading is pretty fun, and I don't even have a video about this yet, but it will maybe eventually turn into a video. And it's like one of those things that it will humble someone who thinks they are good, and it may humble someone who thinks they're good in the language, because my review consists of reading readers for first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, if you could see. All right. And so I recently finished all of the weeks for grade 1. I'll show you grade 2 in a second, but I finished all of those weeks. And again, it's not active vocabulary. As I read it, I highlight words that I don't know. But let me give you an example of what this reader is. So this is grade 2 reading, and you can purchase these on Amazon. I think if you click on this link, it'll take you to one of the pages, right? It'll tell you exactly what it is. So grade 2 reader. So it's in Spanish, and all of it is in Spanish. So tonight, for example, I am on, let's go back here. Tonight is week 3. So week 3. So if I go to week 3, I've scanned in the books, by the way. I have another video about that. But week 3, this is for a second grade reader, right? And so week 3, every night I read the entire week because it's relatively short. The readings are relatively short, at least for now. But if you come across these words, right, again, it can humble you. If you think you know some Spanish, you will see how much further you need to learn Spanish. So let's see. Felix tiene una colección especial. Agrega muchos elementos. Trying to see if there's a word I don't know. Okay, well, palito. Otra vez es encontrar un palito. I don't know that right off the. So yeah, so it is un palito. What is that? Otra vez encontrar un palito. I don't know. So that's an example. It's one of those like obscure things that you will come across. And if you were in second grade and someone who speaks natively Spanish, you should know that, I imagine. So let's see what that means. Un palito. Yeah, a stick. So anyway, I know it as palo. So they use the demonstrative palito. All right. So that's what I do every night. Here's the readings. They're pretty short. And I use my iPad. I highlight words I don't know. But again, it's constant reinforcement of things that I know. If you don't know the imperfect tense, you're not going to understand what this is, which is why, again, grammar is important, even though people try to say you shouldn't need it. But like this entire thing, for the most part, is in the imperfect. La maestra dijo, all right? That's the preterite. And the teacher said that mathematics are all around us. No estaba seguro de lo que quiere decir. I wasn't sure what she was talking about or what she meant. So again, here's the readings. Grade 2 every night. There's just 4 readings. And then now, I guess this is a pretty long reading. So all that to say, with all this rambling that I did, I'm still showing up every day. If you ever want to follow my progress, I have public links to these study trackers. And you're free to follow at least something similar. But there it is, 6 months into the year, still going, and I will continue going forever. So hopefully you learned something from this. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. If I did, well, that's why I script out all my other videos, to prevent rambling. So that's all I have for this video. If you have any questions about it, shoot me a comment below and I'll answer it. And until the next video, as always, good luck building more usable functional Spanish. Peace.